JM on the track, JM on the track. In ADP production. Married with Queen and Chris. Welcome to Married and Shit, Married and Shit. One spot for the spicy, one spot for the sweet. It's Married and Shit. 11 years in and you know that the marriage on fleek. Married and Shit. Like, subscribe, be sure to tap in like every other week. It's Married and Shit. Welcome to the family. Married and Shit. Married and
Welcome back to
Married and Shit.
For those of you just joining, I'm Quinora.
And I'm Chris.
And for those returning, thank you very much.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
Yes.
And we would really appreciate if you go ahead and like, subscribe, follow us on all the social media platforms.
All of them.
And make sure you turn on those notifications so you never miss any content from us. Like for 2 seconds, I forgot what we're talking about today.
We're surrounded by it.
Yes. So in case you guys haven't noticed, in case you all haven't noticed, we are in a new place. Yay.
Same city.
Yeah, we're in the same city, but we're in a different location because we sold our house. It has been a whirlwind of decisions and issues thanks to coronavirus.
Shit is real.
For,
I was trying to get it to do this last time.
I think we have said before you're in the military, and you know, military, we move very often. And when we came to this location in the Kansas City metro area, we purchased a house because the rental sucks where we wanted to live.
The rental market sucked. It was absolute trash.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Well, you know what?
In
I
the
don't
particular
part,
that. Yeah. So anyway, so we bought a house.
I didn't have a lot of time to find a place to live.
Yeah.
And it was one of those situations where the quickest option.
Well, I mean, we bought. It wasn't really the quickest, but you know, we bought a house really without intending to buy a house when we came here.
Had zero intentions on buying a house.
But anyway, we bought the house, and our time here is going to be coming to a close. And so, you know, we had to make adult decisions now that we had a house and an investment.
I think
and
it's
all
one of
this
those things
other
where
stuff.
I was supposed to know.
Yeah. So
like last month, and then coronavirus happened. But by the time, like, we had listed the house.
Yeah. So we
before
listed
quarantine and all that stuff started.
Yeah. So we listed with the intention of, you know, over the summer moving and, you know, kind of taking advantage of the summer rush, because whenever we do get ready to leave, our original planned departure date from this area is in the wintertime, and nobody's trying to buy a house in the wintertime in the snow in -2 degrees.
At least not many.
Yeah, not many.
Not many that claim to be.
Not many. And you know,
we bought it in the wintertime,
but we had absolutely no choice.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Or
and
we just didn't like the choices we had.
Yeah, and we didn't want to be in those situations where we're trying to pay for two places. You know, I'm not trying to pay for the mortgage here and wherever we're going to be at the next spot. So we were like, oh, we'll just put it on the market in the summertime, or at the beginning of the summer season. And, you know, then we'll just live out of an apartment until we get ready to go.
So, apartment.
And
And it's not a bad apartment.
Yeah, it's not a bad apartment at all.
It's definitely not a house, but 3 bed, 2 bath apartment with a 2-car garage.
Yeah, with a garage. Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely a perk.
Less than our mortgage.
As far as apartment goes, it is good. It's just when you're going from how many square feet? I don't even know how many square feet the house was. But the house had
well over 2,000.
4 bedrooms, a rec space. That's what I would consider the basement downstairs area, like a rec space.
It wasn't a basement.
I know it wasn't an actual basement, but the lower level.
It was a split level home. Downstairs there was
it's like a second living room.
It was like well, you had it right, rec space. That's what they call it on HGTV. But it was like a large, you know, multi-purpose room. There's a full bedroom down there, and there's a full bathroom down there as well with storage.
Yeah, with storage, and then it was 3 beds, 2 baths upstairs in the main living. So I mean, it was a nice house. Don't get me wrong, love the house. Mm-hmm. But today we're gonna be talking about selling that bitch.
Yeah.
First of all,
that was trash. And it's crazy. Oh, you go ahead. Go first.
Well, I won't say it was trash. It was a learning experience with trash moments.
I thought we would have learned from, because we have friends that have bought houses, and they've kept us in the loop, just as friends, but I
don't think too many of our friends have sold houses though. Like most of our friends that have bought their houses, except with the exception of one person, most of them, bought their house and they just live in it. I wouldn't
call them our friends, but there are people, at my last duty station that had bought houses, and when they moved, like Sheb, when she moved down to Jacksonville, mm-hmm. She was talking about, they had bought their house that was there. I don't know if they actually sold it. I don't know.
Yeah, see, but not too many people talk about the actual selling process, and I think it's because when you're a buyer, because you have so many kind of like hoops to go through in order to get to the point of buying a house. Like your credit has to be good, you got to have money saved up, you got to have this, you got to have that. Like it's all these check marks to finally get to the point of buying a house. You know what I mean? That when you get to it, like you're gonna ask for everything under the sun. Like you want this, I want that, I want that. You know what I mean? And you expect the seller to, to compensate for it.
I think, we didn't have grounds to do that because it was a brand new house.
Yeah, I mean, we just kind of But when you're the seller and you're on the other side of the fence, it's like you don't really. There's no hindrance to sell. In a way, like if I want to put my house on the market, I can put my house on the market. Like if I wanted to do a sell by owner, put a damn sign up, maybe pass out some flyers, and technically you could sell your house. You may not get the money you want from it, but there's not as many barriers to put your house on the market to sell it. At least I felt like it didn't. Like we didn't have barriers to put it on the market and to sell, like to get the process going. It was just kind of like, oh, you want to sell your house? Okay, here's some contracts from your realtor, Mm-hmm. So but yeah, selling was, and not to say, it was like horrible. It was just some moments that I wish we were more prepared for. And I think part of it was also because you're military, the whole process of moving, we're really out of touch on it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've been spoiled. Because I mean, for the most part, unless you do, and my military folks know, unless you do a Diddy move,
do it yourself.
Moving and I never do. I never, once I found out that the government would hire a moving company to like do everything, and like the first time we had to move, it was a shocker to us as we're like.
Do you want me to help?
Things up, and there's
let me box this up.
You sit there and there's and so literally, moving for us, if you don't decide to do it yourself, is all you have to do is sit there.
Yeah.
Your wrist might get a little
cramp in the wrist.
Yeah, cramp in the wrist from doing all this flicking around and pointing and all that stuff. But so, this is. This is the second time we've moved while at a duty station. When we were in Hawaii, we moved from the first house to the second place.
Yeah.
But
we had so much help.
I think then, no, it wasn't even about help. We hired a moving company.
Did we?
Yeah.
Well, see, we couldn't hire now because of Corona.
That's what happened to the washer and dryer set that we were talking about. They asked us.
We did hire somebody.
They asked us if we needed it because the place actually provided one.
Yeah, you're right. We did hire somebody. That's why I don't remember that. We did hire them. Because we took them to lunch at that place up the street.
Yeah. That place was good.
But yeah, so we're really out of touch with moving, and essentially we thought we were gonna hire movers, maybe not for the whole house, because that bill would have been expensive. But, for the large stuff. But thanks to
coronavirus. So rental companies, places like U-Haul, Budget, all those places, you could rent a truck. They were considered essential. But
that have people
moving
come
companies themselves
weren't
considered essential at the time. And it was
Which,
just
I understand.
I don't.
I do understand, because if you were a mover,
I understand. I have sympathy, but I was mad.
Yeah,
mad.
I was frustrated, but so the whole move was on us.
Yep.
Which I was glad.
Some heavy fucking furniture.
Yeah, and you don't realize how much shit you got until you have to move it from one place to another, and you just have stuff. For this, really just like we still had stuff boxed up from the move here, like with the movers numbers and everything, the little stickers that they put on.
So that was mainly on me. I had this thing, so I knew that because we had decided very early. We knew that eventually there was going to be an expiration date on our time here in Missouri, and I saw it as an opportunity, like, hey, we know people that have rented out their houses. We can be renters. And so her being the resourceful person that she is, and we talked about how resourceful she is and how she is about planning things, she immediately jumped into multiple Facebook groups about, being a landlord and all that stuff, and the horror stories that she came up. We would be screwed. Think that if we had if we were renting out our house, and I think what's the bill that they're talking about, they're going back and forth on whether or not we're going to get another stimulus or whether or not they're going to forgive
it's so many different bills, but yes,
not granted, we would be covered
mortgage,
because they're basically saying nobody owes rent and nobody owes for a mortgage, so it's like we would have been straight. But basically she would just, people would come across situations where, look, people come across hard times and there are very strict laws that it takes to evict someone. If we're the landlords, the mortgage company don't care. They don't care that our tenants can't pay the rent. We still got to pay that mortgage.
Right.
Or else, and the tenants, and if that were to happen, I think the tenants could actually sue us for not paying the mortgage, even though they weren't paying the rent and they had to vacate the house.
Yeah, and I think given the situation and the climate here is not conducive to being a landlord in the house that we were in.
No, this is everybody. People when people come to the area we're in,
they come to settle.
They want to buy.
So, but yeah, I think this was definitely a learning lesson, for that, and along with the whole landlord thing is the finances that come along with it. Mm-hmm. I'm the type of person where I am a planner, but I'm a planner and I like things to be a certain way. So if I'm a landlord, I'm going to want like extra money off to the side, like a just in case pot of money. You know what I mean? And we did not have that when we got ready to sell the house, because to me the house was just built. Mm-hmm. And everything was essentially pretty much brand new. It wasn't too much that, in my mind, that you could ask for. So we used most of our savings for other things that we needed to do in life.
Well,
the
other things in life, but we weren't leaving Missouri to go to another location.
Yes.
We pretty much, like, the apartment we're in now is only like 12 to 15 minutes from the house that we just sold. And
so if the house didn't sell, we were comfortable. We were like, and then with Corona going on and all military moves and like everything military just was like, stop, stay where you at, nothing's happening. So in our mind, it was like, even if it doesn't sell or it sits on the market, we're good. Well, so let's start at the beginning. So the good thing was we got an offer and accepted an offer within a week.
That bitch sold. Like, we had been hearing these stories, so we kind of started getting ideas because, like I said, the town that we were living in, the rentals that were there, you know, like I said, and we've said in previous episodes, we got a little bit of bougie in us, you know, and, you know, they say, look, it's called a come up for a reason, but the rentals that were available in the town that we were currently, because it was perfectly located as far as distance go, there were great schools there. The schools were rated great, you know, in the national, however they rate them, elementary, middle, and high schools. All of them are great in that town. There was no crime.
For both. I ain't gonna say it was no crime, but it was good distance between both of our. What?
Not in our neighborhood.
Well, you never want to say a place doesn't have crime.
Well, people were setting themselves. The few things that did happen, people were setting themselves. Like, if you're gonna leave your nice car in your parking lot in your your driveway unlocked and leave nice things out in the seats. All right, somebody might open the door and take your wallet.
You just don't want to say that a place doesn't have crime.
Well,
there's always crime.
I would say the level that's besides the point. It was a very. It was a good. It was a very good area, and we didn't have much to worry about, except we're one of the only people that look the way we do.
Of course, we're always the only black people.
Yeah. But other than that, everything was nice. People in general around us were nice. It was a nice area. So, but this problem is because that was a buyer's. That's where people want to go to settle. There weren't a lot of rentals. Like we looked at one apartment complex up the street and
trash. I wouldn't even stay there when I was in college making $6-7 an hour.
What did they say? There's this saying like if your neighborhood has this type of word in it, then you already know that it's trash. Like in the name of the title.
Oh, I don't.
Like when you're looking for a nice apartment, you're looking for something that has the word estates.
Oh.
And the word luxury, but it was just like something homes or something like that, and it was just like when it's certain little keywords looking at, it's like I don't think I want to stay there.
Yeah, but I mean,
regardless,
trash.
it was run down. I mean, the model that they showed us had peeling paint. You could feel how the floorboards were uneven.
And it was just layers of dirt.
Yeah, the rooms looked like jail cells, and I was just like, I couldn't, And I swear, I feel like for a half second, I was looking at her face, and she was almost considering it because the rent, it would have saved us like what $700-800 a month, and you're talking money
easily
with that one. But I think as she walked deeper into the apartment, I could see her shivering as the nastiness was just, and I was like,
it was just like overtaking me, like, oh my god, I gotta
get out. And actually, it wasn't the model unit. That would have been the unit that we would have been renting.
Yes. And she was like, oh, it's pretty much ready. And I'm like, houseway? You know what I mean? Like, I'm no longer certified.
Exposed wires and
I'm no longer certified, but I've worked in leasing. Hanging off. Like, I've worked in apartment leasing, ma'am. This ain't it. This ain't cool. This ain't where it's at. But
but it came. But basically, what we're getting at is we had to leave that particular town. And granted, we only went 15 minutes away, but when you're in a metro area,
15
minutes, it makes a complete difference. Luckily, we're in the same school district. Actually,
yes,
it's just a different school,
but we're in the same district.
Yeah, we found some much better apartments. Didn't save as much money, but
a little bit, little
we saved a few $100, but it wasn't $700 or $800.
Yeah, so we sold the house. Accepted the offer within a week. Like, it was sold, boom, good. And so that's when we started, getting everything together. And then it was like, in the military line of work, and I'm pretty sure people have heard this phrase, no news is good news. Okay? So as we get closer to the closing date, we hear no news. Like, the inspector comes, whoop-de-whoop, they said they're taking it as is. We go through all the specifics. The refrigerator is staying. This is going. This won't be here. You know what I mean?
Small all the negotiations, like, hey, can we? Hey, because we had to basically build our own pantry because the house didn't have a pantry, which is weird. It didn't have a pantry, so we had to build our own pantry. And the couple that was purchasing the home, they asked if they could keep the pantry. They asked if they could keep the refrigerator because they didn't have one. So those little small dealings, that didn't surprise us at all. They asked if they could keep the TV mount, and we said no. And then the hammer was dropped.
So we were closing on a Wednesday. The Thursday before that Wednesday, Was it Thursday?
It's less than a week now. Wait.
Less than a week.
Was it Thursday?
I think it was. It was definitely less than a week. I'm pretty sure it was
Okay.
Thursday. Yes, it was Thursday because she kept calling me and I was at work. Because
Yes, like she wanted to
Thursdays I had to
answer.
go.
They wanted to
that
answer
day.
like right now.
And I had to go into work that day. So anyway, so Thursday we get a call from our realtor. Now, mind you, everything is all set. So we just like, okay,
We got a closing date.
we got a closing date, and I'm just waiting to hear that final number. That you got
from the
title
appraiser.
people, from the title people. That way I know how much to bring.
Well, yeah, but it was based off of what
Yeah,
the house
based off of the
appraised
appraised
at.
for. Yes, so
That's what it was.
Came,
The appraiser came like what, a week and a half.
Yeah, the
before?
appraiser had came like 2 weeks before the closing date. He had already came. He had came when we were still living like full time in the house, right?
This is the no news that we're referring to.
Yes. So a week before we were getting ready to close, that Thursday, mind you, we have now moved stuff into the apartment. Like we were here in the apartment when we got the call.
We didn't pay the deposit. We didn't pay for the first month's rent. We didn't pay.
We here. We good. Like moving truck ain't even here no more. So we get the call and she was like, "Hey, the appraisal came in and it's less than what we thought."
That thing was like 15,000.
That was 10.
No, because
It was like 10.
well, she estimated the value at like almost 270 because we listed at 260 something.
Yeah, but the appraisal only came in like 10 less. Okay,
Like
10 to 15,000.
Yes.
The appraisal came in because it was 10,000 less than the sale price. I don't care about her numbers. It was the sale price. That's the number that's important.
Well, yeah.
So the appraisal came in $10,000 less than the sales price. If you never sold a house before, the appraisal is what really matters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fuck your comps, fuck this, fuck what you owe. Nothing is more important than the appraisal.
Unless somebody's paying cash.
Yeah, unless someone's paying cash.
But to the bank,
The appraisal is king. So the appraisal came in $10,000 less than the agreed upon sales price of the house, which we were also paying closing costs on behalf of the buyer.
So
we were paying their closing costs
So already about plus the taxes.
plus the taxes.
So we're already about what, about $5 grand?
I think that's where you got the 15 from.
Oh yeah.
So originally, when we had the math and she had her sales proceeds, we were coming to the table with about 1,000, 1,200.
It was just gonna be the taxes.
Yeah,
so-
we were coming to the table with just the taxes.
Yeah, because the closing was gonna be rolled into.
Yeah. So we were coming to the table with maybe like $1,200 for taxes, and then we would get our tax rebate back later. No problem. So we go from her asking us to come to the table with just the taxes of about $1,200 to now coming to the table to like $12,000 within a week. Say what, honey? I was like,
We ain't talking about a few $100s. We ain't talking about a couple grand. She came and was
like, I need you to come up.
Like we just was gonna go to the bank and just make this withdrawal. Like
we withdrawing $40.
You want us to in less than a week.
Right.
And the way she presented it made it seem like
we shouldn't have had no problem. Like we just should have had the money. Like we should have just been like, oh yeah, no problem.
Like if for our fellow government employees out there, when the last government shutdown happened and all those politicians that make six figures were up there talking about you should have
3
6 months of, it was more than 3.
Yeah.
Like and it's a good idea.
It is, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet, and
debt free.
And they were just in disbelief. And I think there are more people that are in our position than there are people in their position. Now, if you are in that position, hey,
kudos.
Shout out to you. Hey, we gonna be there within the next
one day.
All right. See, look, the problem is I'm the bulk of the problem. I like nice things, and I'm often able to convince her to sway my way on nice things.
Yes. So basically, Chris and I talked it over, and it just did not make sense for us to put ourselves further in debt, whether it was because she was talking about like borrowing from my 401k.
Taking,
I was like, ma'am,
can you just go into your 401k? I was like, wait a minute, you have the audacity,
ma'am,
to not only come to me and be like, oh, I mean,
come on to the table with $12,000 more.
Not only did you say that, but when we were, and it wasn't even a matter of fact of us having the money or being able to come up with the money. You know, I could understand if she had that concern, but the fact that the idea that popped in your head is, oh yeah, well, you can just borrow against your retirement. Like, that's my retirement. And it, you know,
yeah. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm like, who the fuck do you think you are? She was like,
borrow from your 401k, go get another loan, get a, you know, all this, you know. And on one hand, it's like, okay, she, in her defense, you know, she was trying to provide solutions, right? However, what I think she was forgetting is that we were not in a desperate need to get rid of this house at this specific moment. You know what I mean? Our house sold within 1 week of putting it on the market in March. We before Corona, pre-Corona, we were not even scheduled to leave this state until maybe November,
at the
December.
Earliest. At the absolute earliest.
We were just trying to be proactive by by putting it on the market and getting it sold. Here's the thing.
This is what made it crazy with her saying borrow, because when you borrow against your 401k, you have to pay that fee. You got to pay that back, and it counts as income.
Yes, that's a penalty.
And then what really got up under my skin is when she was talking about getting another loan. Look, when we initially sat down with our agent, the most important thing, because she was like, now, you know, I've had trouble selling some homes because there are these people and they're just determined that they have to make $20,000. Our whole thing was, we don't have to make one red cent. It's just that when I leave, like once this deal is done, I want to make sure the deal is done. I don't want to have to restructure an additional $20,000, you know, with the mortgage. Like, nah.
Just let me break even, because we already knew going into it we weren't gonna have any equity at all. We're only in the house for 2 years.
Well, if you take away the realtor fees, like if we were selling ourselves, we could have easily made a cold $20,000, but you gotta pay the realtors. Which, that's something I didn't know. I didn't know that.
You knew that.
No, I didn't know that the seller was responsible for paying the
selling
agent and the buying agent.
Yeah, that was something new.
I knew we had to pay our agent, but we got to pay their agent too?
Yes.
And then their agent from the same company. Yeah, their agent was also the broker, which...
The broker, like, everybody's in the same.
Their agent was the boss lady.
Yes.
So she was getting paid like 3 times.
So
that's got to be illegal.
But yeah, it was
the wrong line of work.
Like, it was just so eye opening, you know, when we got that call. And so we had just made a decision because, like I said, we weren't in that big of a hurry to be like up out of the house. You know, we're still living here. The kids, I mean, hell, the kids would have been happy to stay in the school. So we was just like, you know what, we're gonna walk away.
It would have been cheaper for us to pay the termination fee for this apartment and move back into the house than the
12,000
fucked up solutions that they were trying to. And I get it. You know, at the end of the day, they were trying to help, but at the end of the day, they were trying to secure their bag because the fees that they got, basically, all of, let's say the deal would have went through, even if the house would have appraised at the perfect amount, you know, because the buyers, they offered the selling price.
They did, yeah.
You know, so even if everything would have went through and the house would have appraised for more or whatever, even if that would have happened, like a good 80% of the profit was paying the broker, the seller, and buying agents. Like, fam. And 2 of those people were the same person.
Yeah. So it was a lot. And so, you know, we made a decision. We, you know, let our we let our realtor know, like, this is our, like, we have the opportunity to walk away, so we're just going to walk away. And, sorry to the buyer, but
we're not going to debt so that you can have a place to live.
Right. Like our whole, and we'll probably have an episode on this later, but our whole financial outlook right now that we're really, really trying to work toward is to become debt free.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I put myself further into debt for this house that is not required I move out of? That doesn't make sense.
Easily got like another, and now the corona stuff, I mean, I could easily have another year.
You can easily have a whole nother year, depending on how long this lasts.
I don't want to be
like,
another
what?
year.
Yeah. Like, it just didn't make sense. So we were like, listen.
I was hoping to not have to deal with another full winter here.
I know.
These winters, like, we're from Georgia, and like, when you hear that 3 feet of snow is coming,
right?
Nigga, what?
So we let her know we're gonna walk away from the deal, which, I mean, we clearly started this off by saying we're in the apartment. So literally like 15 minutes after,
basically what the buyers did is they went and got an additional loan.
No, they already had it.
Oh, so they were the people that we weren't.
Yes.
They were prepared for what we weren't
they
prepared
had it because they were expecting their down payment to be a lot higher.
Oh, yeah.
Was.
Okay, that's what it was.
So they were expecting...
they already had the money saved up because they were preparing to spend it. So they didn't just have money saved. Well, they might have.
Because he was approved for even more. So he was approved for more than the sale price of our house.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a V8 loan, so he had to put.
Yeah, so he was going to put money down. I think. I don't know.
FHA,
so
or whatever.
They had, but either way, they were going to come. So they basically made up the shortfall, and so she called and she was like, "Well, if y'all want to accept that, that's fine by me."
So basically, it went back to all we had to come to the table with was the taxes, and now I still kind of feel bad for the buyer because they just ate up all that deficit. But I guess for them, they wanted the house bad enough, and they were willing to. They wanted the house more than we needed to sell it.
Yes.
And they did whatever they had to do to make it happen.
And it's like you said, that people for that particular city and that neighborhood also, people go there to settle. Like that is probably going to be their forever house.
Mm-hmm.
Just by the way, they seem. That's going to be their forever house. But I do not plan on buying until we are out of this military lifestyle.
I'm with you. And look, I might even be on your side with this maintenance free. Might.
You gonna come over to the condo living?
I don't know, but it's been nice to hear them lawnmowers out there going, knowing that I don't have to go out there and do it myself. I don't mind it, but I mean, even here, I think we're starting to get into our little warm phase. But the last time they was out there cutting grass, it was like 82 degrees.
Telling you.
And it was in the middle of the day.
Condo, maintenance free lifestyle. I want a high rise in the sky.
But we still be watching shows like House Hunters and Love of the List, and we be talking about, I just want my massive kitchen
But you can have that in a condo. Listen, I saw this one episode of, I don't even remember.
Are you talking about the dude that bought 2 condos?
Yes.
Wasn't each condo like the price? And what's crazy is because she gasped every time we watch a show and somebody's talking about, like, I remember we made fun of it one day where people be having these, like, I'm a butterfly examiner. Yes. And the budget for my house is $897,000. I'm like, what the hell? What bad choices did I make in college to where, we're doing normal jobs with regular salaries, and you're getting paid to look at butterfly wings, on a YouTube channel at that.
Buy if we get a really good place. First of all, it has to be like, we have to get a really good realtor.
Mm-mm.
Listen.
No. Every time there's
a really good realtor.
Every time there's an episode where somebody's budget is even close to $500,000, you're just like, whoo, Lord, I just can't.
I like my money, and
You know how much 2 condos are gonna cost?
But if we can find like in an up and coming area, like if you get in, you know, before
We already know
it costs that
both
much.
of us have kind of already mostly settled on the idea of where we want to retire, and we already know, not retire, settle at, but we already know that what you're thinking about, we're not going to find.
Or, you know,
2
maybe,
condos is going to be like $700,000
probably each,
Ah.
depending on where I want. Well, not there.
All right, so you're
Yeah,
talking
not
about
there.
$1.4 million.
But what I'm saying is, if it's
Million.
gonna for real be our forever condo, and I can have a gorgeous skyline to wake up to,
I want to be like
and
Jefferson's.
I can go out to my veranda and sit and sip and drink my alcohol and have, you know, my tea out there.
Only way
And
I'll do that
then-
is if I can have the whole floor.
You ain't gonna have the whole floor. I'm giving you 2 condos, bruh.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever like really seen a condo.
A condo is nothing more than nothing more than an apartment.
But don't
own.
you also want a space where you can get away from people?
Yes, it's called Close My Door. Okay, we
This is not even what we're supposed to be
this
talking
is
about.
not on topic.
Moving sucks.
Moving sucks.
End of story. Look, if you have, you know, your 2 cents, if you got some advice, you know, maybe there are some things that we did wrong. Y'all probably sitting there like, oh man, you could have just did this and this and wrapped it around up in there and brought this up in here.
Right.
You know,
Because this
look,
was our first sale.
and you never know. We may end up going to another place where the rental market is absolute trash. Because, you know, let's be real, it's out there.
I mean, yeah.
And it's definitely around some of the places that we could end up going to.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
One thing that
And
one thing we both agree on: we're not going to be forced to stay in trash. We're just not going to do that.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, if y'all got some tips, some professional tips, not what you heard your homegirl did. Like we need some real tips. Or, you know, if you want to share your experiences, like I said, you know, we always said we still want to have the episode where we just answer questions and
Yes,
get
that's
our audience,
coming.
get our following involved in our show.
It's coming. I think we got a few things that we'll plan that.
Where should they send their suggestions, their thoughts to?
You can DM us on Facebook, we're Married and Shit Podcast, or on Instagram, Married and Shit Podcast. DM us, or you can email us at marriedandshit@gmail.com. Yeah, that's how you contact us. I had to make sure I had the email right.
And we promise we'll make every effort to contact you back. You know, I love
yeah.
getting notifications. So please send them all to me, and then she'll answer them. But anything else? You got anything else?
No.
All right. Well, you know what to do. Be you. Stay true. And don't be afraid to start some shit. We out.
Oh, that'll be cute. Bye.
Marry this shit. Like, subscribe, tune in now. Marry this shit. Like, subscribe, we're done for now. Marry this shit.